The sun rises gently over Cebu City, painting the narrow streets in warm gold as jeepneys begin their daily rhythm of horns and laughter. In a modest neighborhood not far from the busy port, a small wooden house stands with patched walls and a tin roof that rattles when the wind passes through. Inside lives Rafa Dela Cruz, a quiet 13-year-old boy whose life has taught him to grow up faster than most. Every morning before school, Rafa helps his mother prepare rice and pack simple meals, careful not to waste a single grain. His father leaves early for the sea, hoping the day's catch will be enough to cover food and electricity. Money is always short, but hope still lives in the small spaces between worry and love. After school, while other children play basketball in the alley, Rafa walks toward a familiar jeepney stop near Colon Street. He carries no instrument, no microphone, only his voice. The air smells of street food and salt from the ocean, and people rush past him with tired faces and busy minds. Rafa takes a deep breath, closes his eyes, and begins to sing. His voice floats above the noise, soft at first, then steady and clear. There is something different about it, an honesty that makes people slow their steps, a purity that feels like comfort after a long day. Rafa learned to sing by listening. Old radios, church choirs, neighbors humming while working, music surrounded him even when life felt heavy. Singing became his way of expressing feelings he never spoke aloud: fear for his parents, dreams of school fees paid on time, hope for a future beyond survival. Each note he sings carries those emotions, and people can feel it. Some stop to listen, some smile, some quietly wipe their eyes before dropping a few coins into the small plastic cup at his feet. Despite his talent, Rafa never sings to impress. He sings because it helps his family. The coins he earns buy rice, notebooks, and sometimes medicine. When the crowd thins, he keeps singing anyway, believing that even one listener is enough. His worn shoes rest firmly on the pavement, grounding him to the reality he knows, while his voice reaches for something higher. One late afternoon, as the sky turns orange and purple, a foreign tourist pauses nearby. Drawn by the sound, she listens in silence, moved by the contrast between the boy's fragile appearance and the strength of his voice. Without disturbing him, she takes out her phone and records a short video. Rafa doesn't notice, he is lost in the song, singing as if the whole world is listening. That evening, the video is uploaded online with a simple caption about a boy singing on the streets of Cebu City. Overnight, it spreads. Comments pour in from different countries, calling his voice angelic, his story inspiring. People share it again and again, touched by the sincerity they hear. Rafa goes to sleep unaware that his life is quietly changing, believing the next day will be like any other. But sometimes, the smallest voices travel the farthest. From a humble street corner in Cebu City, Rafa's song begins a journey beyond imagination, one that starts with survival, but carries the promise of something extraordinary. Rafa stands backstage at America's Got Talent, his hands trembling slightly as he holds the small paper wristband given to him earlier that day. The room buzzes with nervous energy, performers rehearsing quietly, others pacing, some whispering prayers. For Rafa, everything feels unreal. Just weeks ago, he was singing near a jeepney stop in Cebu City. Now he is thousands of miles away, surrounded by bright lights, cameras, and people speaking a language he is still learning to understand. He thinks of his parents watching from home, their faces filled with hope and worry, and he takes a deep breath to steady himself. When his name is called, Rafa walks slowly onto the stage. The lights are blinding, and the theater feels enormous. Rows upon rows of audience members stretch out before him, their faces curious and expectant. At the judges' table sit the people he has only seen on a small screen before. Simon Cowell looks serious, arms resting on the desk, his expression unreadable. Rafa swallows hard, his heart pounding so loudly he feels the microphone might catch it. Simon asks him where he's from. Rafa answers softly, saying he is from Cebu City in the Philippines. When asked why he sings, Rafa hesitates, then speaks honestly. He explains that he sings to help his family and that music is the only thing that makes hard days feel lighter. His voice shakes slightly as he speaks, and a gentle hush falls over the room. Simon nods, listening closely, while the audience leans in. The music begins. Rafa closes his eyes for a brief moment, imagining the familiar street where he usually sings. As the first note leaves his lips, the nerves fade away. His voice fills the theater, clear, emotional, and unexpectedly powerful. Each lyric carries the weight of his journey, the struggles of his family, and the dreams he has never dared to say out loud. The audience grows completely silent, as if afraid to break the spell. Simon's posture changes. He leans forward, eyes fixed on Rafa. The usual skepticism on his face slowly disappears, replaced by genuine focus. The other judges exchange glances, visibly surprised. As the song builds, Rafa's confidence grows. His voice rises, then softens again, showing control far beyond his years. Some audience members place hands over their mouths, others quietly wipe tears from their cheeks. By the final note, the emotion in the room is overwhelming. Rafa opens his eyes, unsure of what to expect. For a brief second, there is silence, then the entire theater erupts. The audience jumps to their feet, applause thunderous and endless. Rafa stands frozen, overwhelmed, his eyes wide with disbelief. Simon remains seated for a moment, visibly moved. When he finally stands, the applause grows even louder. Rafa's chest tightens as he realizes something has shifted, not just on the stage, but in his life. In that moment, the boy from the streets of Cebu City understands that his voice has truly been heard, and nothing will ever be the same again. The applause slowly fades, but the emotion in the theater remains heavy in the air. Rafa stands at the center of the stage, his hands clenched together, his chest rising and falling as he tries to understand what has just happened. The bright lights no longer feel frightening, instead, they feel warm, almost comforting. He looks toward the judges' table, searching their faces for a sign of what comes next. His eyes settle on Simon Cowell, whose expression is unlike anything Rafa has seen before. Simon takes a deep breath before speaking. For a moment, he says nothing at all, and that silence feels just as powerful as the applause. When he finally begins, his voice is calm, slower than usual, as if he is choosing every word carefully. He tells Rafa that he has heard thousands of singers over the years, many with strong voices, many with good technique. But what Rafa brought to the stage was something rarer. It wasn't just a song, it was truth, emotion, and life experience poured into every note. Simon admits that when Rafa first walked out, he didn't know what to expect. He says that appearances can be misleading, and moments like this are reminders of why judging someone too quickly is a mistake. As he speaks, Rafa feels his eyes burn with tears. He thinks of the times people passed him on the street without looking twice, unaware of the dreams he carried inside. Hearing Simon acknowledge his journey feels like someone finally seeing him for who he truly is. The other judges share their reactions, praising Rafa's courage and sincerity, but it is Simon's words that stay with him the most. Simon leans forward and tells Rafa that his voice made people feel something deep, and that kind of connection cannot be taught. He says the world needs more voices like his, voices that remind people of hope, humility, and resilience. The audience responds with another wave of applause, many cheering his name. Rafa nods again and again, unable to speak. Tears slip down his cheeks, and he quickly wipes them away, embarrassed but grateful. In that moment, he is no longer thinking about competition or results. He is thinking of his parents back in Cebu City, of his father heading out to sea before sunrise, of his mother counting coins at night. He imagines calling them, telling them that everything they sacrificed was worth it. Simon's final words are simple but powerful. He tells Rafa to never lose who he is, no matter how big the stage becomes. Fame, he says, can change people, but heart is what lasts. Rafa listens closely, storing every word in his memory like something precious. He bows his head slightly in respect, a quiet thank you spoken without sound. As the moment ends, Rafa walks off the stage, still overwhelmed, still shaking. Backstage, the noise feels distant, as if he is floating. He knows his journey is far from over, but something inside him has shifted. The boy who once sang to survive now understands that his voice can inspire, heal, and connect people across the world. From a small street corner in Cebu City to one of the biggest stages on earth, Rafa's story becomes a reminder that talent knows no borders and hope can rise from the humblest places. And in the hearts of everyone who heard him that night, his song continues to echo, soft, powerful, and unforgettable.